The clerk of the board's department received 2 public comments from Brian Yanity and Susie Whitlaw. The comments were emailed to the board of directors on May 12th at 7:11 p.m. and will be retained as part of today's board meeting record. Chair Nguyen and Vice Chair Chafee, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
We have 6 in-person speakers.
Okay.
Susie Whitlaw, Lisa Gant, Amanda Quintanilla, Joe Wilson, Andy Hall, and Tony Nelson. If you could please line up against the left-hand side glass. We'll call you up one at a time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to be clear. We're not asking you to restore our beaches. We are asking you not to destroy our beaches. That 50-foot engineered revetment over San Clemente State Beach would destroy the entire beach. Now, I understand you're all very concerned that you seem to think that the tracks are likely to fall into the ocean over the next winter season. But is that actually true? You have some photos that I sent you, so you can follow along with that if you need to. The photo that Mr. Fu just showed you of the 12-foot high cliff, the man standing under that's pretty scary, right? The problem is that photo is over a year and a half old, and it's not even in hotspot number 4. Let me explain to you. We started with a landslide. The worst erosion is down at the south end where the waves are the most strong. You put out 60-foot revetment there. I understand it. It was an actual emergency. The tracks were moving. You had to do that. That created more erosion to the north. 700 foot of erosion here. You addressed that. That's where that photo was taken a year and a half ago, and it was pretty scary. You addressed it. With a 50-foot revetment? No. With a 20-foot wide rock revetment. Does that need to be extended to 50 feet? According to your consultant, no. It's perfectly adequate to do a 20-foot wide revetment there. Now we've got hotspot number 4. How scary is that? Is it as scary as that photo you just saw? No. I'm showing you photos of what it actually looks like today. Mother Nature has actually built up about 5 feet of sand there. It's not that scary. It can be addressed with another 20-foot wide revetment over that 700-foot length. Just do the minimum amount to retain and protect your tracks in the near term. But it gets worse. Are you really doing just that hotspot number 4? No. You're going all 3,500 feet out. And what does your consultant say about all of that expanse of San Clemente State Beach? No hazard, no stable, no hazard, no immediate action. So why in the heck are they also proposing to do that much devastation, 50 feet, covering the entire remaining San Clemente State Beach, when your own consultant has said it's not necessary? 0. It's already got revetment. It's already got embankment. It's stable. You don't need to do it. So what I'm asking you is to really look at the details here before you destroy this huge public trust. Look at whether it's absolutely necessary. And when you're asked to declare an emergency,
3 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Tell them it's not an emergency.
Thank you. So the board will continue to take comments from the public. Just for instructions, comments are limited to those within the subject matter jurisdiction of the authority. Members of the public who've completed a speaker's card will be recognized by myself and may come forward to speak and address the board when they're called, and the comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Lisa Gant, San Clemente, Save Our Beaches. I'm encouraged by your recent turn of events and your acknowledgement that placing sand on San Clemente's beaches will preserve the beach and protect the rail. I think it's imperative that the coastal marine specialists are consulted as to how to place sand effectively and minimize boulders. I'm concerned that oversized revetments pose a significant threat to our beaches. The armoring that is planned thus far is way beyond what is necessary, and ultimately it is destructive to our beaches. Emergency permits for a 50-foot wide monster-sized revetment that extends far out onto the beach is overkill. A revetment that is 2/3 of a mile long along our state beach that escapes all environmental scrutiny as proposed in hotspot number 4 is irresponsible. These proposed revetments are too long, too high, and too wide. OCTA has suggested the use of sand is considered a mitigation. However, sand is actually a responsibility to protect the beach where revetments are placed. We need sand, and it needs to be done right by knowledgeable coastal engineers as a cohesive plan. Any mitigation should directly correct the damages that have been done and not be indirectly used elsewhere. I've been somewhat perplexed because the initial proposal that was made by OCTA glaringly lacked sand replenishment. Now that sand replenishment is being acknowledged as a component to the solution, the sand is underrepresented in the new proposal and boulders are still overrepresented. It makes me wonder how qualified the planners of these proposals are. While the go-to explanation is that this is just a proposal, I cannot help but ask, why are the proposals so far off target? Where is the environmental scrutiny? Where is the science? Where are the experts on marine engineering? These are serious endeavors. How is it addressed? How does it protect a community beach and address the terrain and the public safety? It is imperative that environmental assessments are utilized to prevent permanent harm to our coast and that revetments of any kind be minimized as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Joe Wilson here. How are you all?
Good morning.
Hope good. Spoken to you a few times before. Several of the points that I was going to make were just covered. I'm just going to summarize a couple of things, if I could, please.
Yes.
I think right now, the time, there's been so much progress, including sand in these proposals now. We believe a key part of this, the success for this effort, will be to convene a panel of experts. There are a lot of scientific, geologic, oceanographic experts, along with your engineers, to determine the proper mix of revetment and sand and get them both in to protect it. One piece that I had from writing this, for example, it's been proven a 50-foot wide boulder revetment south San Clemente still allows waves to crash up and over the rocks and soak the trains. I think you've all seen the pictures of that. That's simply because the wide sandy beach that once fronted the tracks and dissipated wave energy has been wiped out due to sand scouring from the huge bank of boulders. I think it's pretty straightforward. You get the right people in the room, the experts who really know oceanographic coastline shoring up, and get them to determine the proper amount of boulders, hopefully a minimal amount, with plenty of sand to keep the waves away from the rocks so the water doesn't scour away the remaining sand. That's it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Morning, board members. My name is Andy Hall. I'm the city manager for the city of San Clemente. Really want to appreciate all that you do for our community, specifically board member Foley, board member Federico. We really appreciate the representation that we get for the city of San Clemente. Just wanted to make sure that you understand as we start through this process just how collaborative your staff has been. ED Director Larson, I'm sorry, I just elevated you to ED Director. But no, we really appreciate all of your staff and how collaborative they have been with the city of San Clemente. And as we've gone through some of these studies, we found out that a lot of this information that you're aligned with the things that we need in our community as well. In order to protect some of our critical infrastructure, we believe that the best way to protect that infrastructure is sand on the beach. I think that you're seeing that the best way to protect your rail lines is also sand on the beach. And so we really appreciate this collaborative process and that you guys have started to look at different ways. I just wanted to let you know again that, and now I'll give the right kudos, that your executive director and all of his staff have been very, very open. We've had a lot of meetings. Mr. Johnson has made sure that we've had plenty of access to all of your staff. I just want you to know that the City of San Clemente supports and recognizes your need to keep those rails running, and we support that, and we want to keep them running as well. So just want to make sure that you know that you have a partner in the City of San Clemente. Really appreciate.
Hello, Gary Walsh with Save Our Beaches SC, and today I'm going to address three aspects of public policy regarding protecting the rail line in San Clemente. The first one is why it is aligned with your mission statement. Now, several on this board have questioned, why should OCTA rebuild San Clemente's beaches? And the answer is simple. It's the best solution. It will protect your track for decades. It's cheaper than other solutions and will produce an environmental solution that everyone can accept. And allow me to remind you of the mission of OCTA. And this is to quote your website. Our mission is to develop and deliver transportation solutions to enhance the quality of life and keep Orange County moving. And to repeat, develop and deliver transportation solutions to enhance the quality of life. Using sand to protect your tracks is the embodiment of your mission statement. At this point, it is petty finger pointing to assess who should have been replenishing these beaches for the past 70 years. The fact is, the City of San Clemente, the state, the county, and OCTA all had obligations. That's water under the bridge. You need to protect your tracks right now with the most sound public policy at your disposal. Once the beaches are replenished to sufficiently protect the tracks, then it is the right time to negotiate with all the aforementioned agencies for future replenishment. Now, second one is, who's going to pay for it? And some of you have asked why people of your district should pay for rebuilding San Clemente's beaches. They shouldn't alone, and they won't. OCTA has identified the money to be used for protecting its tracks will come from state and federal sources. That means the cost is not borne alone by your local constituents. This is part of being a republic. Everyone benefits when resources and money are pooled together for the end purposes of benefiting all. Everyone benefits from the rail system. Everyone has an interest in protecting the rail lines. Second, the last part is your role on the board. All of you have been appointed to your respective districts and cities to represent this board. Unlike your elected positions where you're expected to represent your districts, you are not appointed to the OCTA board to singularly represent what only benefits your community or district. The sheer number of representatives on the board from across the county is to ensure management of OCTA is diverse and encompasses input from all who live here in pursuit of its mission, enhancing the quality of life. If you're only interested in what benefits your district, no project outside your district would make sense. Do Anaheim residents benefit from new bus stops in Lake Forest? Do Dana Point residents benefit from the OC streetcar? No. Protecting your tracks by rebuilding these beaches is the most sound public policy that fulfills your mission statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Tony Nelson, Capo Cares. I'd like to thank you for listening to residents and adding a sand buffer to your armoring, but also warn of some major problems with this plan. I strongly urge you to take the chance right now to press a pause button and take a basic first step that so far nobody has been contemplating. Orange County citizens and taxpayers need an independent cost-benefit analysis before you commit ultimately billions to keep your tracks in place for 30 years, desperately fighting serious threats from both sides of the tracks. I urge you to conduct a fact-based study to look at the short and long-term costs of this project, both the monetary and the environmental costs, including long-term impacts on beach access, our tourism industry, and especially our beaches and bluffs themselves. You also need to identify fact-based, realistic benefits. We have analyzed your data and can show you that ridership and freight in this segment, in the San Clemente segment, are far too low to justify the huge investments you'll need in the next 5 years, let alone 30. Please consider 5 inescapable facts. 1, you are contemplating up to $340 million worth of sand and rocks to protect the tracks from the ocean in only 4 locations in 7 miles. What about the rest of the coastal corridor? None of it is truly safe for very long. Number 2, riprap is a tenuous barrier and requires constant maintenance because ocean action moves the boulders. Come to Capo Beach and I'll show you in person. Boulders and concrete trash bins are regularly tossed around by wave action. 3, a wide sandy beach is a much better environmental solution, but 500,000 cubic yards is not nearly enough. The beaches need much more sand immediately and will require annual replenishment or reefs or living shorelines to keep the sand in place. Are you ready to fund this? Number 4, current plans do nothing to prevent catastrophic bluff failures. The walls you are building don't prevent or stop slides, they just contain them and keep the debris off the tracks. OCTA needs to be monitoring vibration and moisture right now to provide early warnings and determine when you should stop running trains to protect residents, passengers, and train employees. And 5, the bluffs in both San Clemente and Del Mar are one major collapse away from derailment or permanent shutdown. You are putting very expensive Band-Aids to protect residents, passengers, and you are putting expensive Band-Aids on a problem that needs actually major surgery. It's time for a realistic assessment of what you're really doing here. Please step back and consider. Our beaches will continue to warrant replenishment because of the public interest, infrastructure, and tourist economy that depend on their preservation.
3 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any further public comment?